Volunteering turned barracking. My favorite I Don't Work Here Lady stories are ones with volunteers or students, so here's my contribution. Back in 2011, I was a freshman in college. I attended an honor college, which is an HC, within my university, which I absolutely loved. The director of the HC emailed students asking if any of us would be interested in speaking with high school students at Generic High School about our college experience. I signed up right away as I loved what the HC offered me and wanted to share that joy with other potential students. To clarify, the General High School reached out to my director, asking us to come to them, not the other way around like a recruiting event. This made me extra excited because I didn't have to convince anyone of anything. We were wanted, and I could honestly talk about my college experience without having to sell the HC. We left our campus at around 6 a.m. to get to the General High School on time, which, in case you didn't know, is usually a killer time for undergrads. We stopped for breakfast on the way and were promised lunch. As soon as we came into the building, it was clear there was a huge disconnect or lack of communication between the guidance counselor at General High School whom invited us and the rest of the teachers. Our group received a ton of scornful glances and looks, so much that even I noticed it, and I am oblivious to most things. To the teachers, it seemed we were an inconvenience, even though we were only speaking during one teacher's sections. In between the first and second sections, we stood out in the hall to greet the students as they were coming in. Two of us pulled out our phones, and immediately a teacher walking by stopped right in front of us.
You know the rules, put it away!
I'm sorry ma'am, we're not students here, we're visiting from HC.
Then don't you think you should be setting a good example for the general high school students and not use your phones?
My friend and I meekly apologized and put our phones away. We were a little embarrassed, but tried to shrug it off. When lunchtime came, I expected us to go in an empty classroom or something, but nope, we were sent to the cafeteria and told to find a table. Our provided lunch was a student meal from the cafeteria. I was not really complaining. I grew up on free lunch and a free meal was a free meal. As the small group of us with the director ate a lunch, naturally we pulled out our phones again. We were college students, volunteering our free time. And obviously my director looks older and has a ton of additional responsibilities besides this one visit. We were sitting at one of those stereotypical student cafeteria table or benches when a male gym teacher, also stereotypical looking, rushes over. You all, put your phones away before I take them, now! My director was slightly aghast at his reaction as she hadn't been in the hallway earlier when another teacher chided us. My director begins to explain that we are not students, we're just visitors, but before she could even finish, he interrupts. Well, welcome to our school, but we have rules here. These college students look like our kids, and if they see them using their phones, they will think it's okay. At this point, I could tell my director was getting agitated. We drove out of here at 6 a.m. at the school request, received condescending looks from other teachers, and were forced to eat in the student cafeteria. But this was also a small high school, 150 per grade max. I had just graduated from a similar class size and I was so pissed at this gym teacher's logic. If a group of 6 strangers showed up in my cafeteria, we'd know that they are not students and likely visiting. The rest of us put our phones back, swearing under our breath. My director keeps her phone out. Not obnoxiously, but like I mentioned earlier, she had a ton of other responsibilities beside this visit. So essentially, she was trying to catch up with all the work she was missing by volunteering to drive us out here. The male gym teacher comes swooping in like a hawk. Put that away! Who invited you here? I need to speak with them. The director mentioned the guidance counselor's name and the gym teacher wandered off to yell at some other actual students. Finally, we reached the end of this hellish day that I am sure my director had not experienced since she was a high school student. The guidance counselor, who we only saw briefly at the beginning of the day, saw us out and cheerfully asked how our day went. Her face dropped when she saw how unhappy we HC students were. My director politely smiled and said, "We'll follow up in email," preventing us from having to spend another minute to this general high school hell. When we got back, my director wrote the guidance counselor an email where she professionally murdered her with words. Basically, she could not believe how poorly we were treated by the teachers of a high school we were invited to. How we had no problem eating in the students' cafeteria, but to be cheated in front of other students was rather humiliating. She mentioned how she herself hadn't felt that berated since high school, and that in the future, the HC would not be willing to come and talk. The guidance counselor sent a really apologetic email back, but my director stood by her word and we didn't go back throughout my years there. I went to dozens of other high schools where I was treated as equal to staff, or even better because I was a guest. Overall, I felt the worst for the general high school students, as it was clear many of the teachers that were in it for the position of power over the role of educating. You need to serve me now. CL for the crazy lady, W for the worker, S for the supervisor, and me, a bloody unicorn. I used to work in the hospitality industry for 6 years. 6 years of drained sanity I will never get back. But I have moved forward, changed industries that suited both my mental and physical health better. Visiting my old workplace, noticing that it had exchanged owners and managers, and most of the old staff either quit or moved into new jobs. And after becoming a regular, most of the new morning staff know me by name, since I work at the supermarket across from them and wear a name tag and know my coffee order. Now this happened roughly between 7:30 and 8 AM, and I really don't remember as I don't really function well until I have my morning coffee. But the cafe was not exactly that busy as they were still setting up the food display. I accidentally knocked over the small tray that held the condiments, the sauces, salt and pepper, and was putting them back when I suddenly heard someone come up behind me. I knew it was a woman, cause the sound of a heel tapping impatiently followed by 2 loud coughs as I am trying to get someone's attention. I was alone at the counter, so naturally I didn't think it was directed at me. Boy was I wrong. I felt 2 taps on my shoulder, and before I was then rudely yanked around, I was a little dizzy from the movement.
Can I have some service here?
What? Oh, sorry, but I don't work here.
Yes, you do. Don't lie to me. You were too focused on that.
And she points at the small, random stacked pile of condiments.
You can't even stack them right.
Look, I don't even work here. I'm not even wearing the uniform. I knocked over the tray that holds the condiments.
Stop lying!
At this point, my saving grace appeared. The morning barista came out from the back after getting more stock for the day.
Hey dude, what's going on? If you don't work here, then why does she,
now pointing at the barista,
knows your name?
Me, I'm pointing at my name tag. Because of my current employee name tag that states my name?
I don't care. You need to serve me, and now I have to go to work and stop wasting my time.
Excuse me, miss, but so do I. As I stated before, I don't work here. And during this, the supervisor made his presence known. What is it with all the yelling? The worker proceeds to tell what she came into, and the crazy lady gives one hell of a devilish smirk towards me.
You are so fired?
She jabs at me, turning her full attention to the poor supervisor.
Are you the manager? I want you to write this girl up. She has been rude to me the moment I came in, and look.
Now she points at the tray with the condiments.
She can't even stack this right.
Ma'am, this person doesn't even work here. She works there. And he points at my current workplace, which had just opened up.
Well, she could have just said something.
I did, twice, plus we're not even in the same uniform. The cafe was a brown shirt with their logo, black dress pants and a green apron. My uniform was a green checkered shirt with the logo and black dress pants. Now she tries to save what was left of her ego.
Whatever.
And she walks off.
I'm so not coming back here.
After she left, I turned back to the supervisor apologizing again for knocking over the condiment tray. They apologized for the way I was treated by the crazy lady. I didn't get my coffee, but I did get a can of energy drink on the house. Moral of the story, look at the clothing of people around you before assuming a crux of a customer is a worker.
This is not McDonald's. When I was 15, I worked at a McDonald's to pay school. I don't know if it is the same worldwide, but here in Mexico, McDonald's had these blue grayish button shirts and blue pants as uniform. We could take the uniform at home to wash it and iron it, but we can't use it outside the restaurant. After a year working there, I had to quit for personal issues, but I actually never could return the uniform. 2 years after I quit McDonald's, they changed the uniform to a red polo and blue jeans, and I remembered that uniform looked better than the one I happened to kept, so when I was 18, my friends invited me to play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I know, I'm a nerd. But that same day, my mom got to do the laundry and washed all the clothing in the closet because she saw some mold and didn't want any eggs in the clothing, so I had nothing to wear. I had to take the old clothes I keep in another closet, and I ended up wearing a red skirt and a black tank top. I really don't like showing my arms, so I took my old McDonald's shirt above the tank top. My friends told me the D&D play had to be done at a Burger King because the library was closed that day. I was a little bit embarrassed to go to Burger King with a McDonald's t-shirt, but we went there anyway. We had a big order to avoid being kicked out because of the playing, and everything went smoothly until a lady, we'll call her Rude Lady, asked me the price of the combo I was eating, and I answered politely. It was odd, but nothing to worry about, or so I thought. She was in between her 25 and 30, but she looked like her mind wasn't there. She was wearing cheap, elegant clothes and fantasy jewelry. I thought she might be a secretary because there's a lot of officers near there. A few minutes later, the same rude lady approached again to me and looked down at me. Excuse me, but the restaurant is full and I need your seat. I was confused about this. I thought she complained because we were playing, but we still had plenty of food on the table, so I told her, I'm sorry, but I'm still eating. I can give you my table. And I returned to our play, but the rude lady put her food on our table, putting aside some of our stuff, and her face went deformed by her anger. You shitty teens have your own employee room, and I know that. My son worked here. I know how this works. You shouldn't have your break here outside, but inside the employee room. Now get up and I won't report you. I was really confused about this rude lady, and I couldn't figure out what was happening, and my friend told me.
She thinks you work here because of your shirt.
He said that pointing my clothes, but I couldn't believe it. It was impossible, right? I was sure she was complaining because we were playing D&D at a full restaurant, and that makes some people angry. Look, lady, we are having lunch and playing. We are consuming food as well. Please wait for another table to get free. I was trying to be polite, but I really didn't know what was happening. I was scared and uncomfortable. Before I could say something else, she walked away and I thought she found a seat, but she then came back to us with the manager. Look, there she is. She doesn't want to leave the seat. I politely asked your employee to clean the table and she sat to it saying it was her break and she could do whatever she wants because she wasn't on clock. The manager looked at us without knowing what to do.
Guys, you can't really play here.
He was merely asking as if that was what this lady wanted, and we answered back. We were still eating and had plenty left.
I can't ask them to leave if they are consuming.
But this lady went all crazy. But I am a customer and I get priority on seats. At that moment, my friends were laughing, but I was so confused and awkward. Then the manager saw me with more detail and went back to the lady, figuring what was happening.
Mom, she doesn't work here and this is not McDonald's. She's a customer as well and we're at a Burger King. I can't ask her to leave, but if you keep doing this, I will ask you to leave.
The lady was about to say something else, but she went all red, not sure if it was from shame or anger, but she turned around and walked outside the restaurant, leaving her food there. The manager apologized to me but told me that I shouldn't wear uniforms outside McDonald's, that I actually could have been reported to my actual manager. I was in complete shock because I didn't think that lady really thought I worked there. It was so dumb. And the Burger King manager thought I worked at the McDonald's that was nearby that place even when the uniforms were totally different now. I got confused for being an employee by 2 different people that day. My friends made fun of me for at least 6 months, asking me to wear the McDonald's shirt all the time. That day, I learned that people can really be clueless of their own environment.